So what are we talking about today? What are we talking about
Welcome
today?
to a new dispensation.
Oh my
What's
God.
Magbo?
I go hear him. So Burna Boy
Yeah.
had an interview
Yeah.
where he said he was the first man, founder, pioneer, progeny of Afro-Fusion.
Yeah, that was it.
So that's depending on who you are, that might or might not be a wild statement.
Yeah, I agree.
So the first question I have for you now is, because let's build the foundation, you know, is Afro-Fusion a set genre of music?
It's not.
Okay.
The problem is this. That was the second time Burna Boy said it.
Oh, okay, he said
That's
before.
the second time. He said it in a previous interview. Some previous interview. He said, I created it about Afro-Fusion. When you look at Afro-Fusion, the entire journey of it depends on the dispensation you're looking at it from. So there are about 4 dispensations. Right? There was like the 60s, 70s era where the origin of music, like a lot of Nigerians that were, when we started consuming foreign brands of music, not just churches now. You know, churches, the type of music that traditional church was making was based on classical music, right? For people that were traveling and they were coming back, CDs that people were buying, James Brown, jazz, some of these things were influencing the type of music people were making. Yeah. So you have even someone like Fela, for example. Afrobeat is basically funk, high life, jazz with African percussion. That's basically what it is. So in a way, you can say Afrobeat is Afro-Fusion. In a way, it's a brand of Afro-Fusion, right? And then when you're looking at, you go a little bit further forward, you're looking at people like the Nigerian sisters, for example. The Nigerian sisters were making African music. Like African music, the essence of African music is the drums. Like African music, traditional African music is nothing without the drums, regardless of where you want to look at it from. Instruments can come, but it's the drums. That's the identity. That's what people understand us for. That's the drums are emblematic, percussions are emblematic of African music, right? So people like the Nigerian sisters were blending foreign sounds and African sounds together. That's a form of Afro-Fusion. Then when we come a little bit further forward, people like Ronnie Kundaya, for example, they were rappers, right? But you saw the type of music that they were making. They were sort of blending electro, soul, disco with maybe some juju type of drums and things. That's Afro-Fusion, right? And then when you come a little bit further forward, you have somebody like Lagbaja, Sest on African Thing, Women album. All those albums are filled with Afro-Fusion. Lagbaja even had an album titled, has a record that Afro-Calypso is a part of it. Afro-Calypso is a part of it. You hear the Latin X type of essence, but then at the root of it is like sounds that are very peculiar to Juju, Bata, you are hearing Sakara, Omili, Lagbaja's music. That's Afro-Fusion. And then a little bit further forward. So that's like 3 dispensations already. Then a little bit further forward, you're looking at Black Magic era. Black Magic's era was filled with, it was at the start, Black Magic, his debut was like 08, if I'm not wrong, 2008. His type of music was Afro-Fusion. He called it Afro-Fusion. Lagbaja called his music Afro-Fusion, right? Black Magic's type of music, although it was rooted in some type of alternative, hip-hop, palm wine music, high life even, and even juju in a way, because a record like his biggest record, I Love You Way You Smile, it's a blend of different genres, but at the root of it is juju sound, albeit on a slower level. That's juju music. The drums are very juju-esque, right? And then even before Black Magic, Afro-Fusion is just basically a fusion of African elements with foreign sounds. That's what it is. It's not exactly a set genre. It's anything that it's a product of when African elements, mostly percussion, in most cases it's percussion, with foreign elements. So the 99 era is what birthed where we are currently, the dispensation that we're currently living, right? And that was when hip hop and R&B and maybe some type of dance or all these genres birthed the type of pop sounds that we had in like the type of hip hop driven pop sounds that we had in like the early 2000s. That was a brand of Afro-Fusion. Burna Boy that was coming, but the thing with Burna Boy is the latest, and probably in terms of the dispensation, it's probably the biggest, and probably in terms of international acclaim, it's probably the biggest. So Burna Boy, the thing Afro-Fusion became emblematic for him.
Yeah.
It carried it, because when Burna Boy came into the industry, it was very hard to pinpoint his music.
Yeah, it was.
It was very hard. It was very hard to say this is what he was making, that is what he was making, or this is what he's making, that's what.
Even looking back now, some of the songs he did then, that maybe back then we called Afro pop. If you revisit them now, you might call them something else.
Yeah.
Like the Party can go for Afro swing.
It is, right? Like to Party is 100% Afro swing, 100%. Even a record like the record that I shot the video at Shrine, Run My Race. Run My Race is raga with some Afro beats, not Afro beats, Afro beat type of instrumentation. It's Afro-Fusion, right? That's Afro-Fusion. But then if you are going to classify that, you might not call it Afro-Fusion, you're probably going to call it raga. Yawade is Galala. That's Ajigule music, right? So the thing with Afro-Fusion is, as much as it's an umbrella term that can be used to describe anything, the fact that it doesn't have a set description. Like, if you look at hip hop, for example, hip hop is, or rap music is a genre, it has a sound. But either it's drill, either it's trap, either it's grime, either it's whatever, you can say this is still rap music because there's something to it. It's not just what people are saying, but the way the drums are constructed, you are still to call it rap music because there's something to it. The same thing with R&B. If you are looking at R&B, you are looking at either you are doing trap soul, you are doing you are doing aesthetic contemporary R&B, you are doing old R&B like 90s R&B, you are still going to mix R&B. If you are looking at Afro pop, for example, either you are experimenting with it, either it's Joe Boy's alcohol or it's Wizkid's Anoti, you know it's Afrobeat. So the thing about Afro-Fusion is it doesn't have a set genre. It doesn't have a set genre description. Like, there is no format. There's no baseline format. It's just an umbrella term for anything for an enigma that cannot be understood. Sounds that we can't properly place. But we know that they are firmly rooted in African sound and something that's foreign. Probably, most likely not African. It's an umbrella term used to describe enigmatic things, and that's Afro-Fusion.
Interesting. Is there a way now? Because all I'm getting from this is it's like you've in a way described different approaches to look at Afro-Fusion. But is there a way to define it, per se?
If you're going to define Afro-Fusion, it's tough to define Afro-Fusion. It's tough. But like I said the other time, Afro-Fusion is basically it's a symbol of things enigmatic sounds that we can't properly place. That's basically what Afro-Fusion is. We understand that the sounds are, maybe it's either boom bap from like East Africa, either it's Makossa or Sukus, the drums are Makossa or Sukus, they are pom-pom from Ghana, whatever, Amapiano. You know that, again, African music at the baseline, the biggest identity we have is the drums. Like
it's drums,
the drums, the percussion.
From the villages till now.
Bruh, it's the percussion. That's what it is. So if anybody adds anything to it, we can tell that, okay, maybe the music itself, we can't properly class it as a pattern. It's for this, maybe this chord progression, the sound, the sonics of it, the arpeggio, the staccatos, all of these things. They are probably not African. So you can say, it's Afro-Fusion. But a lot of things that people even call Afro-Fusion sometimes are genres that have been defined. People just don't know them. Like some days ago, I was arguing with a friend of mine, I don't want to mention his name. A lot of people don't understand genres. So they try to pinpoint or pigeonhole anything that they can't identify properly under the
term of
under the
Afro-Fusion.
term of Afro-Fusion.
If it's confusing,
Just
don't-
put it up.
Oh my god.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of days in the early days when we were saying like he liked to party was Afro-Fusion, Afro-Soul, and Afro-Soul. That's what it is, right? But that friend of mine I was talking about was basically describing a bashment. But he was saying it's Afro-Fusion. No, bro, it's not Afro. It's a bashment, right? So that's another problem that we have in describing some of these things. So say a lot of the records on Made in Lagos, they are Afro-Fusion records. Not all Afro-Soul records. But in some records that you can't properly identify here somewhere there, I'm probably going to say, okay.
You hear the Caribbean plus the Afro beats.
You might not want to call it Afro swing because it's too Afro pop here. You're just using Afro-Fusion.
Buffet noni.
New dispensation.
Oh my god.
So those are the things that's how you can describe Afro-Fusion.
Would you have classified someone like, let's say, Shank as an Afro beat, as an Afro-Fusioner? Because I used to.
Yeah, you can say that. It's last EP. The last EP was very dancehall, bashment, raga-ish, with a hint of EDM. There's a lot of EDM essence on the last EP.
Yeah.
But his first album, yeah, you can say that. But it was the thing again to describe genres of music. You're going to look at the production. You're going to look at the way the music is delivered. You're going to look at what the person is saying.
Yeah.
Those are the things that are going to deliver. So if a Shank, for example, the beat is probably going to be very Afro-pop.
Yeah.
The way it's delivering is going to be maybe raga or dancehall as Caribbean, let's not say Caribbean or island. And then the type of things it's saying, you might find it hard to be able to pinpoint some of those things. But for this to be safe in describing someone like Shank, yeah, some of his records were Afro-Fusion. Some of them, not all of them. A lot of his records were dancehall. A lot were dancehall. I mean, some of the other R&B records as well. Yeah.
From what we've talked about now, it seems like Afro-Fusion is very decentralized.
It is decentralized.
So if it's decentralized, does it mean that it doesn't have a set origin?
Yeah, we can say it doesn't have a set origin. But when if we are trying to understand that, we have to look at three things.
Okay.
We have to look at the dispensation that we talked about the other time. We have to look at the type of music, and then we have to look at the word Afro-Fusion itself, right? The dispensation in terms of like, in Lagbaja, for example, the era of the music that he was making and the type of music that he was making was different. Like, it's the genres that he was fusing together, they were very different. The type of things that Black Magic, for example, was fusing together, different type of Afro-Fusion. The one Burna was fusing together, different type of Afro-Fusion. With Lagbaja, for example, those are the people that we can understand so that we can be able to grasp the idea. Lagbaja, for example, sometimes some people were calling this music Afrobeat. Sometimes people were calling it Bata. If you watch some of the stage performances, you hear that's basically Bata, right? So sometimes his music even not from far away, never far away. It's an R&B, right?
That's an R&B,
That's
proper R&B song, yeah.
Right? But guess what? Makes it Afro-Fusion.
Yeah, the drums.
You get it? So with someone like Black Magic, again, like I said the other time, hip hop, sometimes his music was purely hip hop.
Yeah.
Sometimes elements of alternative were there because you can hear some guitars here and there and all that. Sometimes you can hear high life and palm wine music. Sometimes his last album was a lot of high life records, a lot of some elements of palm wine music. The record with terms of palm wine music, basically. That's what it was, right? A person like Burna Boy, for example, his music is more contemporary. For the demography of this country is under 19 years old. Most of them, they don't even know who Lagbaja is. Most of them will not tell you, if you are not telling them that Wizkid is the greatest, that Wizkid is the greatest, they are not going to agree with you.
Facts.
Because that's the reality.
Yep.
And there's nothing you can do about it, right? They don't care about Two-Face or the back, they don't care. They just Wizkid, everything is all over.
Or nothing.
Exactly. So that's why someone like a Burna Boy, for example, they can be able to understand it, because when Burna Boy came into the industry, we had found the Afro-pop sound that we're currently running on. So hip-hop and R&B had happened. Galala and Koto had happened. Then the 4 albums, major albums, M2M by Wandeko, Entertainer by the Rand, Nicest Gonga Song, and Timaya's True Story, those albums had happened. So the Afro-pop was there. So the type of Afro-fusion that Burna Boy was making was basically fusing mostly the type of pop sounds that we had seen with foreign elements. So the origin of this thing itself is decentralized. That's part of the problem. Why you can't say this person is the origin, that person is the origin. It's just a bunch of people experimenting with their testing their creative limits. Another problem that we have here is that Afro-fusion doesn't exactly have what are we going to say, a poster boy. Like Burna Boy, yes, because he's the biggest Afro-fusion artist right now. But everybody else is making Afro-fusion. Wizkid's album made the biggest Afro-fusion record as well. Right? Now, the thing that we don't have to look at is, even those guys are not always making Afro-fusion records. Like I said, sometimes they were saying Lagbaja's music was Afrobeat. Sometimes they were calling it
they were confused about it.
Even Burna Boy himself, the best thing about all these big guys is that their sonic palette is ridiculously expansive.
Yeah.
Burna Boy, in terms of his generation, Burna Boy probably has the widest
versatile.
He's probably the most versatile artist of his generation on
yeah.
the African continent. It's not even Nigeria now. That's the greatest blessing he has. So it's then difficult to say that he's an Afro-fusion artist when he's not even making Afro-fusion at the time. His latest record is trap record.
It's a trap record.
With a blend of a blend of emo and cloud rap. There was a time a record like Yawa did I was talking the other time was Congo. Ron Maris was Raga. Like it's not like a Fela, for example, where Fela was making Afrobeat. Whatever the BPM or the tempo was, it's Afrobeats because the things are there. The drums remain the same, the instruments remain the same, the overall feel of the music remains the same, the vocal texture remains the same. So there's an identity set. A musicologist can study Afrobeats and say, this is Afrobeat, regardless of what you're doing. But Afro-fusion, even since there's no baseline type of brand of music, it's difficult to then say that this is it. So in terms of like the word itself, like I was saying, 3 things matter. In terms of like the word itself, Agbaja has described the music as Afro-fusion before. Black Magic has described the music as Afro-fusion before. Burna Boy has described the music as Afro-fusion. But in terms of like someone who has made it an identity, is Burna Boy.
Yeah.
Burna Boy made it an identity. He made it emblematic for himself. But can we say that he created Afro-fusion? There is nothing to create when you look at it generally. Like
it's always been there.
It's always been there. So it's not like somebody created anything. There is nothing like there is no genre baseline sound that somebody created. Even Burna Boy doesn't have one sound.
Yeah.
That's the greatest blessing about Burna Boy. He doesn't have one sound.
Yeah.
He does everything.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, there's no creation. There's only parts where I'm the most popular artist now.
Yeah. So it's fine for him to be the flag bearer.
The flag bearer of
Afro-fusion.
That word, Afro-fusion.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
All right. So since we've established that it doesn't have a baseline, you know, and it's cool for Burna Boy to say that he's because of who he is at the moment.
Yeah.
So we can definitely for a fact say, this is me asking now, can we for a fact say that Afro-fusion is not a genre?
Afro-fusion is more of a description than a genre of music. I mean, a lot of people are going to argue that, but a lot of genres of music, like I was saying the other time, like hip-hop, for example, it doesn't have a set sound. Like, there's trap, there's grime, there's drill, there's boom bap, all of these things. And there are people that were rapping on disco music. There are people, Olamide and Naira, people that are rapping on Afro-pop. But the thing is, if you hear rap music, nobody has to tell you that it's rap music. You will know that's rap music.
Yeah.
I was saying, I gave the same example with Afrobeat. I've given the same example with R&B. The thing with Afro-fusion is that it's too wide. basically anything can be Afro-Fusion. Even some sounds that have been identified can still be Afro-Fusion. Because this Afro-pop that we're talking about is a product of different genres.
Yeah.
Hip-hop, R&B, juju, apala, highlife, Afrobeats. Sometimes you are even listening to, you are hearing subtle elements of Latin pop.
Yeah. The chords.
Thank you. So you can then say that, so you can basically call some types of things that we're calling Afro-pop or Afro-beats. They're Afro-Fusion records. But the problem is it's too wide. So identifying Afro-Fusion for a lot of people is even hard. And again, like I said the other time, the people that are saying Afro-Fusion, it's very hard to pinpoint that a Burna Boy, for example, okay, Afro-Fusion, every time he's doing the record, I say it's Afro-Fusion. No. No. So can we then say it's a genre? Most likely not. It's more of a description.
Yeah.
So
for when you are confused.
For when you are confused. You're strong in there.
Oh my God. When you have too many elements.
But it's not unreasonable as some of the things that I've been hearing, as unreasonable as Afro-Kalaputa, for example. What is that? So it makes sense. Afro-Fusion. Afro-Fusion. So, like I said, we can't say it together. Welcome to this conversation. That's why.